Hey everybody, it's Cassie with Undead Furniture Company. Instead of doing a furniture tutorial today, I'm actually going to be making a informative video to those of you who are in my industry specifically about the importance of marketing and sales psychology when it goes into marketing. So, first and foremost, if you are like me and you started this business venture during the pandemic, I think it created a really unrealistic expectation of what things were like in this industry and how easy it was to sell items just because it was so effortless. Now, couple things contributed to that. During the pandemic, there was a lot of additional money floating around that individuals wouldn't have otherwise had. So it created a really high spike in sales. And even those who are seasoned professionals and were doing this before the pandemic will tell you they had record high sales during that time. Now, Facebook Marketplace was the place to sell. I think by then Craigslist had already kind of like dwindled away. Etsy was up there. It wasn't as popular as it is now. And unfortunately, I think it's actually kind of coming down now because of some of their like rules and regulations and stuff. But Facebook Marketplace was the place to be. They also had different algorithms then. So let's talk about buying style. When you have a piece of furniture that is priced significantly higher than everything else on the app, you have to think about what type of customer is going on that app. A lot of them want a deal. They don't really look at the value within the piece. They're kind of looking at whether they feel they get a deal or not. So nobody's really understanding how much time and love and material and effort that you've put into this piece because of the type of buying style. Again, it was different back then because a lot of people had money, they didn't really mind it, but algorithms are a big contributing factor in that too. So when you post something that is $500 or $600 and it's a dresser, Facebook is seeing that that is 500% higher than other things in that category, and for the most part, they're hiding it. The only way I've been successful on Facebook Marketplace recently is boosting my sales to get in front of customers. The type of customer, again, isn't always the greatest, but all it takes is one customer, you guys. It just takes that one person to really see the value in it and love your work, and they buy it. So, if you are still relying on Facebook Marketplace and you're wondering why sales have dwindled so much, it's a combination of both of those things. One thing that I have seen that kind of breaks my heart is within this industry, there are people that post beautiful artworks in the furniture forums on Facebook. And I just see tons of comments about, oh my gosh, I love this. How much did you sell it for? And it goes one of two ways. They either sell it really high, and then there's comments that are like, oh my gosh, I would never be able to sell it that high within like my specific portion of town or whatever the case is. Or people sell their stuff incredibly low and it is worth so much more. If you're relying solely on Facebook Marketplace to sell your items, that market style is not giving you the value that you deserve because a lot of people are pulling down their sale price in order to make sales because, again, it's not the ideal client. So I can't wait for a lot of individuals to get into different markets after this and then start raising their prices and realize that the atmosphere has everything to do with it. You can take two identical items and place them in two different atmospheres, and the atmosphere is going to dictate that value. If you take a piece of, it's pretty absurd to think about it, but it's just like that. Take a dresser that you've just finished, let's say a $400 range, and you go and set it in a thrift store. It's probably not going to sell. But if you take that same dresser and you place it in a high-end furniture store where customers are coming to spend money and they know that they're going to be spending that amount of money, they're going to see that value. Now you take that piece and you actually put it into an art gallery. That just made that entire value of that go exponentially higher. So I don't want you to think that just because your items are selling lower right now that they're not worth higher. It's probably the type of clientele that you're getting in front of, and it's the way that you're marketing. This is how crazy sales psychology can be. I was actually in a store where they had beautiful painted furniture. Everything in that store was a refinished store. It wasn't like a vendor mall where I had my own little thing. I've been in those before too. It wasn't like, a separate type thing. The entire atmosphere was painted furniture, but their price points were so much lower than mine that also created an inability to sell to my max capacity being in that atmosphere. And most of the time I would actually end up selling on Facebook because I had that listed there also, and then would push them into the store to go pick it up. So atmosphere really, really matters. Your customer base really, really matters. Number two, if you are relying solely on having your items in a store, you are missing out massively. I don't care if that store is the high-end store where you can get $800 or $900 for it. When you think about the amount of people within your area, um, let's use 200,000 just as an example. My city has a lot higher. There are cities that have even higher than mine. I don't know where you're at, but let's say you have 200,000 people within your city. Of those, how many are actually driving by a storefront every day? How many of those? I would say, I don't know, less than 10% is I think a very high estimate. There are people driving everywhere throughout the city. They have to go through that specific street just to be able to see your storefront. So a lot of people, as their sales started dwindling on Facebook Marketplace, thought that going into a storefront was going to solve everything. It helps, but it also creates a big, big headache if you're not marketing and now you just added a bill and a higher expense to your monthly expenses, because you expected that to solve all problems. That's not going to do that. So of those 10% very high end that actually drive past that store every day, how many of those people are actually paying attention to their surroundings? How many of those people are actually actively searching for stores to shop in? Very few of those people. Now, of those that maybe you catch their eye, maybe they walk in. How many of those are actually buying? I don't remember the statistic, but there. A lot of people don't impulse buy. They typically look at something over and over and over again in order to decide on it. So having a storefront can help if you're in a very high traffic area, but you're also going to be paying rent that is equivalent to that high traffic area. A lot of individuals, and I did this as a stockist myself, and I've seen some of my own stockists do it. They're not posting online, they don't have a website, they don't have any marketing, and they're relying on the foot traffic of that store. COVID, not only during that time, created a difference in like the economy, but also changed the way that people purchase altogether. People do very little in-store shopping now. That is why stores all across America are shutting down. So that goes into online posting. So Marketplace, again, some of them are looking for deals. Maybe it's not the best place. It's definitely going to get you in front of more people than not having it on there. Being in a storefront can help. It can also give you an unnecessary bill when you could be marketing online for free in different ways and getting higher sales. Now, let's look at posting online. There's a couple different options. You can have your own website, which I think is important, but you also have to push people to your website. You have to drive traffic to your website, and that can be hard. Sometimes you have to pay for it. Most of the time you have to pay for it. A lot of the times people don't, and I'm still learning, what is the best way to drive traffic? What is going to be my highest return on investment to get people to my website in order to buy? So that is one of those things that's iffy. I always recommend still having a website because you're still going to gain more people than not. You can do keywords, you can get SEO optimization done. There are still things you can do to drive traffic, quote unquote, organically, or at least in a free manner. Now, you can post online like Etsy. Now, a lot of people don't do that in this industry because they're really intimidated by shipping and they really just want to have local buyers. That's totally fine. We're actually developing an app to solve all of those problems and to create a local buying market that is higher than Facebook Marketplace. But in the meantime, Etsy is a really phenomenal place to post, and shipping really isn't that intimidating. I am more than happy to either create a video or talk to you guys one-on-one to help you get more comfortable with it to do that. Because again, all it takes is one buyer, and Etsy has an exponentially higher valued customer because they understand the importance of handcrafted artwork and just something that's unique, because that's all Etsy is. Now, a lot of people don't like that they're paying commissions on Etsy, but when you look at it, you're not really marketing, right? Of course, you can create something on Facebook and you post a really pretty picture and you say, hey, it's up on my Etsy site. But what you're saving by being on a site like Etsy is you're not paying the $20 or $30 a month to host your own website. You can use Etsy as a website. You can have multiple listings. You have your own profile. You have a rating system. It's a really good system. They've also spent probably millions of dollars in their marketing to get it as big as it is. Etsy is a very well-known platform. So if you were to think about having your own website, your name might not be super big to push traffic there, but somebody might think, oh, you know what? I want this type of a gift. Etsy's the place to go because they've done enough brand awareness that people are going on Etsy to buy handcrafted goods. So when people get on there, they have their own search engine optimization that not only is helping to drive traffic to you while you are on there, but let's say you're even on Google and you type in pink paint or something, if you have that keyword in your listing, it's actually going to pull up on Google itself. So there are a lot of really good benefits for platforms like Etsy. Yes, you're paying a commission, but there's a reason I think that so many individuals within this industry are kind of dwindling out of it or almost failing out of this industry. And it's because people don't understand the importance of marketing. Etsy is doing that for you. That's why you're paying them a commission, because they are marketing for you. They're making that sale for you. You don't need to drive traffic to Etsy. Again, you can. There are actually a couple people in this industry that they sell solely on Etsy, and they sell upwards of like $15,000 to $20,000 a month. But they also have the following that kind of pushes them that way. But if you're wanting to do something yourself and you're not wanting to pay those commissions, and maybe you just don't want to ship, what I have found to be the best return on investment personally is having my own social media platforms, having my own website, and as I post, I can get in front of the right buying style because people are following me because they appreciate or like what I do, and then I can push them over to my website. You can pay to boost. That's how I grew my following in the beginning. Was I paid to get my post in front of people local to me. And then once I took off in the industry, a lot of you guys are actually artists that followed me, and then I ended up getting following from all over the country and even outside of the country. But make your own website. Get on somewhere like GoDaddy or Wix or Shopify. Personally, Shopify is my favorite. It has a lot of plugins that help to optimize a lot of different things. Websites are really important. I have a lot of stockists who don't have websites. Again, they're relying solely on that foot traffic to their vendor spot. Buying styles really have changed. Online sales is going to get you your absolute highest return on investment. Again, that's why Marketplace even works a little better than just a storefront, is because people have the accessibility of being on their phone and being able to shop. And a lot of people buy things sight unseen. I mean, I've noticed myself, if I have something on Marketplace and I have stuff in a vendor space and I tell them to go down and look at it, it almost like makes my sales not as good as if I just post it and tell them that they can purchase it and pick it up from me at my house. It's a convenience thing too. So there are really a lot of different things that you can do. I think personally doing a little bit of all of them is going to get you the highest return on, and a lot of it, it's not even really paying for investment. It's just your time. Spend the time in doing it, learn how to do it well. And again, all it takes is one customer. I wish I had some better recommendations for you guys on apps or better ways to market locally, but that is exactly why we are creating the app that we are, is because there's not a whole lot of good options for people like us in this industry and just for anybody that is wanting to sell locally at a higher price point. So do what you can. Boosting Facebook ads is what has helped me the most. I went from selling an average of, I would say, $300 to $400 price points to the last like 8 or 9 sales I've done has been in that $800 or $900 range. It's helping to get in front of the right people with boosting. But unfortunately, marketing can cost money, but marketing is very, very, very needed if you want to maximize on your sales. Price your stuff higher too, guys. It's breaking my heart. Stop with the low stuff because you don't understand the value of what you bring to the table, and the place that you are like posting is dictating your value. Don't do that. Post higher. I promise you there's a client out there that is going to pay what you are worth. They're going to see the value of it. And don't be afraid to try all of these different things. Don't rely on one of them just exclusively. Do a little bit of everything. But what I can tell you, personally speaking, is if you are just in a storefront and you're not doing any marketing whatsoever, that is almost the worst option, because now you have overhead and you are not gaining any additional foot traffic. You're just creating an expense for yourself. And to be quite honest, like, a lot of us got into this for the freedom. We got into this because we love painting. We like being artistic. It takes a lot of fun out of things when you turn it into a business, and now you are stressed about making money and making sales. So I hope this helps. Sales psychology is huge. Have confidence. Get it in front of the right people. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you want to reach out, you can message me. I hope you guys do well with selling. Don't give up. I think the economy has, a big portion to do with it. But again, you just need in front of that one person. Not everybody is struggling financially right now. You can get in front of that higher clientele. You just have to figure out and get into their head and figure out where they would shop, how they would shop, and value yourselves. Price that higher. You will find that client.